Okay, guys, as you get to know me, a lot of my videos are going to be shot driving. I spend a lot of time driving. I have a couple different businesses based around New York, and a lot of them are dependent upon, driving. So I do spend a lot of time in my car. Just right now, I just want to let you know where I'm headed right now. I said, I have a few different businesses. One of the businesses is a restaurant in Westchester, New York, and the restaurant business is something. When I was a kid, I was a big fan of Tom Cruise. I know, maybe like over the years, he seems like a little bit a different person, but there's not someone who back in that's my age, 47, that didn't want to guy that didn't want to be Tom Cruise back then. When he was 16, 17, whatever, back in the 80s, making risky business, he was like the coolest thing ever. And then one of the movies he made was Cocktail. And when I watched Cocktail, I was like, that's my calling. And I had gotten into bartending at a young age, and bartending was good. I bartended for a long time throughout college, and then a little bit after college, and then just it was always a good money thing. It was it was something that worked well with me because I was a hustler, and you worked hard, you made tips. It was awesome. And now today, then over the years, I accumulated some more money, and I always wanted to be in the restaurant business, so I owned a bar in the Brooklyn area. I was partners in a bar in the Brooklyn area. Didn't work out great. We'll talk about that another time. And then I went on to build a place from scratch, like I said, in Westchester. And it's a good spot, right? Located right on the Hudson River. Excellent spot. It's just pretty far away from where I live, and I'm not able to run it as efficiently as I like. And then there's a water issue with the restaurant business. It's one of those things. I always preach, and you'll hear me always talking about margin. Like, margin is the number one key to business. You get into a business, you got to know what your margin is. You don't want to get involved in something where you're going in all optimistic, and you're depending on a paycheck from this place, and then it turns out that once you filter in how many hours you're spending involved in the business, it's coming out that you're working for less than minimum wage. One of the mistakes I can tell you firsthand from a lot of guys I worked with on commodity exchange, when they left the commodity exchange and then they were looking for businesses to get involved in, they were looking for something to replace this $1 million salary or whatever. And one of the biggest problems is you can't force a business to be more than it is. It's something I always preach. You can't force a business to be more than it is. So in other words, if someone comes to you with a business opportunity, and if everything works out perfectly, you're going to make $50,000 from this business, and you come in and say, well, I'm a genius, and I'm going to make $100,000 from this business, plan on making the 50 or less, because nobody's that smart. Are there diamonds in the rough? Are there underpriced businesses? Are there mispriced businesses? Yes. But more times than not, the business is worth what it's worth. And if you need that $100,000 paycheck, but the business is worth $50,000 a year, you're going to have a problem. And to be honest with you, it could be a terrific business, but it could be a $50,000 a year business. Maybe that's all it's capable of making. Maybe you could do something differently and tack on a few $1,000s. But if all you can make from $50,000, don't think that you're going to come in and you're going to double that up and you're going to turn it into a $100,000 business. You may be able to, and if that works out, fantastic. I think it's the greatest thing in the world. But don't go in with that expectation, because I'm telling you right now, if you go in with that expectation, you're going to fail. You're going to be disappointed, and you're going to take something that probably is a pretty good business, and you're going to be miserable with it because it's not satisfying your needs. It's not putting food on the table. Now you turn around, you've been a corporate guy. This is something I see all the time with former corporate guys. Former corporate guy turns around, gets laid off, gets a buyout package, comes in, gets this. Now he has to reinvent himself. The reason the company cut you loose and down, cut you loose and gave you a package is because they're probably getting out of that business, or they don't need as many people to do that job. So you got to remember that. Like, it's not going to be so easy to find an exact same job in your field at the salary you're making. Otherwise, honestly, your company would probably have just kept you, and that would be that. So yes, there are times when companies cutting someone loose, and you kind of dovetail right into a new business. Yeah, I'm sure that happens, but a lot of times it doesn't. So it's not. So what ends up happening is someone turns around, they get a buyout package, X amount of dollars, seems great. They turn around and say, well, you know what? I'm going to be entrepreneur now. It's always been my dream. Now, at 55 years old, entrepreneur for the first time. Now they turn around and they go out and they realize that the only thing they eat for dinner is what they killed that day. And that's what it takes to be an entrepreneur. That's what you have to remember. What an entrepreneur does is all they eat is what they kill for that day. So now for the past 35 years, you've been collecting a paycheck, weekends off, nights off. You shut off your phone, you turn off your computer, whatever. Now all of a sudden, it's 24/7 you work. Your customer, when you work for yourself, you work for your customer. You're not working for yourself. That's the biggest misnomer ever. You never work for yourself. You're working for your customer. Your customer needs something at 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon while you're watching the Giant game. Tough shit. That's just the way it goes. So what ends up happening is, you get this guy, this would-be entrepreneur that was successful at their job, got, downsized, whatever, buyout package. Now all of a sudden they're going into a business. They're making $150,000 a year. They had a great job. Now just remember, by and large, you have to multiply 15 times whatever your earnings were to net out what your salary was. So say your salary is $100,000 a year. You probably need $1.5 million business to net out $100,000. Particularly, in a lower margin business like a restaurant. But you need $1.5 million a year restaurant to make $100,000. So just do the numbers. It's $30,000 a week restaurant. Gross. So it's not such an easy thing. They're not falling off. Businesses like this aren't falling off the trees. So. You think, all right, well, I could replicate my $100,000 a year. All right, you need $1.5 million business. Or you turn around, you go to a franchise expo, and you decide you're going to get into something you know nothing about. Whatever it could be, whatever. It could be extermination. It could be lock repair. It could be whatever, you go to any strip mall and you see all these franchises. It could be any one of them. And that's what I'm talking about. And realistically, most of these people that own these one-off locations aren't pulling down a whole lot of money. And, you look at an entrepreneur, a guy, because maybe, he seems like he has some freedom. Like, people look at me all the time. I got a lot of freedom. But I appear to have a lot of freedom, but I'm at the beck and call of my customers all the time. And you got to remember that. That's the reality of being an entrepreneur. That's the part they leave out. That's the part no one talks about. That's what, the only one who talks about that like that is Gary V. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about that all the time. You got to be, an entrepreneur is a 100-hour-a-week job. So if you're not ready to sign up for a 100-hour-a-week job, look for a job working in a company. Look for a job, take whatever you can get. Because if you're not willing to sign up for 100 hours a week, you're going to be disappointed. And that's the truth. That's the truth. So for all of you guys out there that are, looking to get into doing their own thing and everything, just keep that in mind. You have to have realistic expectations of what you're going to earn and how many hours you're going to go into it. I'm not discouraging anyone. I would never go back to working for anyone. I really never did work for anyone. I've always worked for myself. But I have incredible work ethic and tenacity and just ability to just work more than most people are willing to do. So, just take that. I'm not tooting my own horn, but it's just realistic. I'm just being realistic what it takes to be an entrepreneur. So, just keep that in mind. But getting back to the restaurant business. So now, we have a good restaurant business. The margin is terribly low. The aggravation's not worth it. I always wanted to be in the restaurant business. I had delusions of grandeur as a child that, I was going to be Tom Cruise, and I was going to have this cocktail bar on the beach, and I was going to make all this money, and yada, 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 the whole 9 yards. The reality is it's a lot of work, it's a lot of responsibility, and it's more than anything else, the risk to reward on it's not the best. You hit a bad stretch of weather or whatever, and all of a sudden you're not hitting your revenue numbers, your bills aren't getting paid, you're dipping into your own pocket to pay your bills, and that's really what it's about. Now I'm essentially, now understand where I'm coming from, I'm a numbers guy. Like, if I make money from a business, that's my only barometer that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for to save the polar bears. I'm about how much money am I making from. And what I mean by that, by saving the polar bears, what I'm saying is, there's plenty of people out there that want to be in the restaurant business because they want to tell people at cocktail parties that they're in the restaurant business. I'd rather be in the shoelace manufacturing business and worth $100 million than be in the restaurant business and have the sexiest bar in New York City and making payroll from my checking account. So, you got to understand that that's where I'm coming from. I don't care what anyone thinks or, feels about the business I'm in. I'm in it for the game of the goals I'm trying to accomplish. And then, please, I want you to understand, I'm not all about the money. I understand the intangibles, but I'm just being realistic about what you have to know your goals about why you're getting into the business. Because if you understand why you're getting into a business and you're doing it for the right reason, with the right expectations, with the right mindset, then you're going to be fine. And honestly, if you have the sexiest bar in America and you're making 50 grand from it and you're as happy as can be, that's terrific. I'm not knocking it. Gary Vaynerchuk says it all the time. Like, if you're making 30 grand and you're the happiest guy and you're thrilled, why rock the boat? But I'm not about that. I'm about, I'm an entrepreneur. So it doesn't make a difference what business I'm in. I'm using the same set of skills and applying them to various businesses I'm in.